Matterpod.
All right, welcome back to Nintendo Academy. We are back here. Sorry guys, I couldn't be on earlier or yesterday. We had a minor, not a minor, actually a huge family emergency we had to take care of. So we were out a couple of days. So if you guys, if you pray, keep us in your prayers, because we're going through something right now with our family. But we're here. We're live, and just to give you guys an update, some of this you might have heard. Some of this you might have not. There are different sources reporting on the Nintendo Switch Pro and a few leaks that came about. And I just want to go ahead and share it with you guys here. And basically, it gives you an idea. When it comes to pre-orders, it's always up to the actual store. It's not really up to Nintendo. Nintendo never announces pre-orders start on a certain date, because when it comes to Nintendo, it's always up to the actual store. Now, I know that, for example, Target, they love to do pre-orders. Best Buy, they do pre-orders. And I think GameStop does pre-orders. And it's up to the actual store whether they want to have it live there and then just tell you when it's available, or if it's going to have a pre-order so you can go ahead and pre-order now and then get it when it's out in September or October. So we're gonna go ahead base here. This info is based on a report by comicbook.com, and I'm gonna go ahead and read it to you guys here so that you guys can see exactly what they're saying. And this looks pretty much like a pre-order will be available. I'm not sure from what store, but on the morning of June 4th, which is crazy, 3 days from now. Let's go ahead and look for it here. And this is brought to you by comicbook.com, and this is exactly what they are saying. And this is also based on somebody else who actually leaked the information. They got their hands on a screenshot for an actual store that is going to have this store here. It says, we received and verified a screenshot from a big retailer's internal, let's see here. Okay, pop-ups. All right, so it says here, let me go ahead and stop this here. Don't you hate it when you have websites on and all of a sudden they have like videos popping up everywhere? Okay, so comic book, you will need to fix that. All right, so we have received and verified a screenshot from a big retailer. So this could be Best Buy, this could be Target, this could be GameStop, a big retailer, okay? It says the internal system that shows that Nintendo Switch hardware-related listing will go live on June 4th around midnight. So basically June 4th night for the June 5th. And when it comes to pre-orders, you want to make sure you're checking out different websites. I saw this with several when I was gonna get the Nintendo Switch Mario Edition. I realized and I learned this little fact here. Not a lot of people are telling you about this little fact, but it's good for you to know in case you want to get this Nintendo Switch. Then pre-orders are done strictly by the actual retailer that is selling the Nintendo Switch. Not every retailer will allow the pre-order right away. They will maybe make it available a week before or on the same exact date. And I learned this when I bought the Nintendo Switch Mario Edition. I was asking the guy at Target like, why don't you guys have the pre-order live for this game, but with this game you have this one and this one you don't, and blah 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 blah. And the guy says, well, it's up to the actual retailer to allow pre-orders to be active online or not. And it's done on a basically managerial basis. They allow it for the certain products to be available for pre-order. So Friday morning we could have pre-orders on the Nintendo Switch Pro available if it's announced on the 4th. If the leaks are true, then we can have it's likely that we can have pre-orders on that date for then available on for them to be available on September. Let's see here. So let's go ahead, and we have received and verified a screenshot from a big retailer's internal system that shows a new Nintendo Switch hardware related listing will go live on June 4th around midnight. That's all we have for now. There's no other data attributes in the listing right now. So let's see here. At this point, the Pro version of the Nintendo Switch hardware just might be the worst kept secret in gaming. That is true. I mean, how long have we been talking about the Nintendo Switch Pro? And yeah, I mean, I remember last year, the beginning of last year, that's when I started talking about the Nintendo Switch Pro, and we thought that the Mario Edition was gonna be the Pro, and then turned out not to be. Actually, we thought the Switch Lite, was gonna be the Nintendo Switch Pro announcement, but it wasn't. It says Switch Pro has been a massive success. Switch, not Switch Pro, has been a massive success for Nintendo over the last 4 years. But an enhanced version of the console would help the community better compete with consoles like PS5 and Xbox Series X, and this is where I do not agree. When have you ever seen Nintendo compete with Xbox or PlayStation? Like, when have you ever seen that? Never. Nintendo is always on their own lane. They have their own genres of games. They have their own style, their own look. While Nintendo was here with their 1080p Breath of the Wild game on the Switch, we had a PS4 Pro and the PS4 Pro Edition with the 4K display, and then we have the other one from Xbox Xbox One X. That's what it's called, right? We had the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One X, which already supported 4K gaming. But in the meantime, Nintendo was on their own lane, having fun, just breaking records and selling Switches back and forth with their 1080p console. So I never thought that Nintendo would ever be competing with neither of these companies. The only reason that I feel that they're actually upgrading their consoles now is because the pressure from, of course, developers and the fans, as well as the 4K becoming the new standard pretty soon for every major TV. Now you can find a 4K TV here in the States for a very cheap price, like $200, $300. And that's basically why Nintendo is doing this, because they want to make sure that they've upgraded to the what's going to become the standard, which is 4K resolution. Not because they want to compete with PlayStation or Xbox, because they're not going to compete with them. Anyway, Nintendo is on their own line. They have their own thing going. They're breaking records, and that is said and done. I have a concept that somebody created to share with you. Okay, an image that could very well be. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it's a concept, like an image that somebody created that could very well be the exact look of the Nintendo Switch Pro. So if you guys want to see it, I'm going to show you right now. And there's a lot of concepts out there from people showing the Nintendo Switch Pro, but I think this one that I'm about to show you is the closest. Okay, this is the closest that I feel we're ever gonna see to the actual Nintendo Switch Pro until they reveal it. Okay, so let's go ahead and show you that image right here. Let me see here. Okay, so here it is, guys. To me, this is the closest, okay, that we're ever gonna see of the Nintendo Switch Pro. If you see the top part here, the gray one on the top, it already has that flap that opens up so that you can actually rest your Nintendo Switch Pro on your table. If you see here on the top, the gray one, it has the Nintendo Switch logo and that little area right there that you can actually open, like the little flap open, so you can stand it up. And then the front part, this I feel is the closest that we are gonna get to actually seeing the Nintendo Switch Pro right now. Okay, what is still not known is if they are gonna go with the D-pad on the left Joy-Con here, like we see on the yellow one, but I mean, right now, guys, you're looking at the Nintendo Switch Pro, okay? Because if Nintendo keeps the Nintendo Switch Pro with the same exact look at as the Nintendo Switch, then what we see here is basically the Nintendo Switch Pro. The screen is bigger. Reports say that it's almost bezel-less. This one is almost bezel-less here. And the only difference would be the left Joy-Con has the D-pad on there. And that's basically it. The right Joy-Con on the other side is completely identical to the one we have now. But yeah, guys, if we are to see a Nintendo Switch Pro, this is the closest that we're gonna get to a Nintendo Switch Pro right here. This is, to me, the best concept that was made to give us a future glimpse of what the Nintendo Switch Pro is gonna look like right here. And I love the fact that they actually showed you the back of the Switch Pro in the gray one above, because there you can see how that flap thing, like the Microsoft tablets have, where you can actually open it in the back and it can stand up. That's how it would probably look like once you open it up and you have that little stand in the back instead of the little stand we have now. It'll also be super cool if we got the colors, just like the Nintendo Switch Lite. We have yellow here, we have gray on the top, and then we got the red to the left, and we have the green on the bottom. And that will be awesome too. That will give us, different, like a variety to pick from. But, if we take a look at Pro models, they always stick with either black or gray or white. So we might see either a black Nintendo Switch Pro, a gray Nintendo Switch Pro, and a white Nintendo Switch Pro. Not sure if we're going to see the yellow or the red or the green. But let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think about this concept here? Do you like it? Do you like the colors? Do you like the screen size? If Nintendo were to make that flap thing on the back, just like you see here on the gray one on top, do you guys like that? Do you see? We have like a speaker, or that's probably like the vent right here where the air comes out, and then we have that little part there that flaps out. But do you guys like this concept here? And would you guys like to see a D-pad on the Switch Pro? One of the reasons why I feel people want a D-pad just because it's more comfortable to play when it comes to handheld mode if you're one person. But Nintendo, if they're gonna go ahead and market the Switch Pro, and it's gonna replace the Nintendo Switch, they are probably not gonna add the D-pad to it, just because both Joy-Cons are usable. If you want to play in 2 players, you use both Joy-Cons, and you want to have those separate buttons there so that the person who's playing with you doesn't get confused. And it's also you see the A, the B, the Y, and the X buttons there. So on the Nintendo Switch Pro, I don't think they're gonna have a D-pad there. I think that it's gonna have the same exact Joy Cons that we have now, unfortunately. But hopefully, they have done something to fix the Joy Con drift problem, and we hope that they hopefully have given us better joysticks to play with here. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like this concept? Apparently, the order is gonna go live on a major retailer on June 4th. June 4th at midnight. Okay, June 4th at midnight. That means that it's basically June 5th, or maybe it's June 4th, like June 3rd to the 4th. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and read that. Let's go ahead. It says, we received a verified screenshot from a big retailer internal system that shows a new Switch hardware related listing will go live on June 4th around midnight. Okay, so guys, what I suggest is at 12:59. 12:59. Okay, 12:59 on the 3rd. And keep your eyes open to the big retailers. Okay? And on June 4th at midnight, which is basically June 4th at midnight is June 5th. So what I think they're saying is that on the 3rd at midnight, which is basically the 4th, we'll have a big retailer go live with the Switch Pro. And if this is true, this means that we should be getting an announcement for the Switch Pro either tomorrow or on Thursday. So either tomorrow or on Thursday. Okay? So let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited? If any of you are getting the Switch Pro or are looking forward to getting it, write it down there in the comments. If you already have a Nintendo Switch and you just want to wait a little bit to see what happens, write it down as well. You know, because I know that our Nintendo Switch, if you have a Nintendo Switch, it's not going to go out of date. It's not going to be discontinued at the moment. Every game that is coming out from here on in is going to be compatible with the Nintendo Switch you have. So you'll have access to all of those games. Of course, what the Nintendo Switch Pro brings is, of course, the higher resolution OLED screen, bigger screen, and of course the ability to play at 4K on dock mode. So those are the benefits you will be gaining with the Pro. But if you have your Nintendo Switch and you play it on dock mode anyway, and you have a 4K display, chances are that your display can also upscale that and give you a 4K type of look. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. This is crazy. We're already here. It's the eve before Christmas, and we're just expecting and hoping to see something finally. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready to see something already. It's you know, like you know, how many times are we gonna go ahead and report on the Nintendo Switch Pro, and on every rumor we are ready. I know you guys are ready. How many people on YouTube are talking about the Switch Pro? You feel like you hear it about every single day, and I think we're all ready to see something happen. And I feel like we're gonna go ahead and see something happen within the next few days. It's gonna be a very exciting and interesting next few days. And then the one question I have is that what game will Nintendo use to show off the Nintendo Switch Pro when they announce it? That is my question. Because if you would take a trip back when the Nintendo Switch was announced, they had Breath of the Wild to display and to show off the Nintendo Switch Pro. I mean, not the Pro, the Nintendo Switch. To just to show the Switch. But I wonder what game are they going to use to display to show off at launch, not at launch, but when they announce it, the Nintendo Switch Pro. And I have two games which I think might be used to show it off. One of them could be Splatoon 3. We saw a little glimpse of Splatoon 3, and I'm pretty sure that game has already been made to run in 4K and look beautifully. And of course, Splatoon 3 is a game that is full of colors. So that is a perfect game to display the Nintendo Switch Pro. And I doubt the Breath of the Wild 2 will be used by that, since it's probably going to be announced at E3, along with the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda. But yeah, that's a good question. That's what game are they going to use to display the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch Pro when they announce it, whether it's today or on Thursday, which is very interesting. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you getting the Nintendo Switch Pro? Are you getting a Nintendo Switch? And the good thing about this, for those of you who don't have a Switch, okay, is that because of the launch of the Nintendo Switch Pro, it's bad news for people who want to get the Pro, because of course scalpers are ready to pounce, but they'll leave the regular Switch by itself, and not so much try to scalp all of those, but only the Pro. And therefore you'll see a lot more Nintendo Switches on your local stores, and maybe even at a lower price on eBay, Mercari, and all of these other websites. So keep your eyes open. If you don't have a Nintendo Switch, a lot of people are going to be selling their own Nintendo Switches to get the new one. They're probably going to be selling it for less price. This is just a tip, and this is what I also do. They're going to be selling their own Nintendo Switches to get that Switch Pro. And some people are so desperate to sell it so quick because they want to pre-order it before it goes out of stock. So you might find a lot of Nintendo Switch, the version we have now, at a cheaper price. Hey Panda, welcome. So basically we have here is that we are expecting a pre-order to go live either tomorrow night. I'm going to tell you, the third at midnight, which is the 4th of June, or on the 5th of June, which is like 4th at night at midnight. So we have our eyes peeled, and what you're looking at on the screen is basically what the Nintendo Switch Pro might look like. And I feel this is the closest we have to what it might look like. Okay, Moshi said, I have a Nintendo Switch version 2 and Switch Lite, and I'm ready for more. But yeah, if I could just get that one in atomic purple, that would be great. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we can get colors for the Nintendo Switch Pro, that would be amazing. That would be awesome. I mean, I love this yellow. I love the combination of yellow and the black here, just like we have here. Of course, we always have the red, we have the green here, and we got the gray here. But we know that we're gonna get a Nintendo Switch, and this is me speculating, but of course, it's just super obvious that we might get a Nintendo Switch Pro, something edition, maybe Breath of the Wild 2 edition later on down the line, or Splatoon edition Nintendo Switch Pro. We're gonna get some kind of edition for the Nintendo Switch Pro, and hopefully they can make that a different color, other than just kind of adding extra images here. Panda Nightshade says, I have a Switch and probably won't get a Pro. As much as I'd love to get a Pro, I don't need one. That's a very good point. Very good point. Because we have the Nintendo Switch, and the only thing you will be getting with the Nintendo Switch Pro is basically the ability to play 4K in a OLED 7-inch display. Okay, and for a lot of people, the display that the Nintendo Switch has right now, it's good. It's good enough. So much that people have the Nintendo Switch Lite, which has a smaller screen, and it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? But I guess the Nintendo Switch Pro is geared to those people who really need that 4K display. And I personally don't really need that 4K display. I'm super happy with my Nintendo Switch right now. Of course, I'm gonna get it to go ahead and show it to you guys here on the channel. And you never know, maybe give it away too. And so yeah. So let me know in the comments. It's okay. I'd love the purple Switch. Purple is my color. Yeah. A lot of people want colors on their Nintendo Switch, and I'm hoping that Nintendo gives us that color. If you just made it here, we have a source telling us that on the 4th at midnight, we're gonna get a big retailer posting their Switch on the website, the Switch Pro on the website. And then when it comes to pre-orders, not every retailer will do a pre-order. And it's up to the retailer whether they want to do the pre-orders or not. So it's up to the retailer whether they want to have pre-orders or not. I know GameStop does pre-orders. Target, they do pre-orders. And then sometimes Best Buy does not. They did it with some a console that I was going to get in the past. But they did do it with another console that I got next to that. So it's just depending on whether they want to do